My husband made me clean up after his brother's family's mess right after I was discharged from the hospital. I'm 4 months pregnant with our first baby, and this pregnancy has been absolutely brutal from day one. The morning sickness isn't just in the mornings, it's all day, every day. I can barely keep food down. Last week, it got really bad. I was in the bathroom throwing up when everything went black. I passed out and smashed my head against the tile floor. My husband found me bleeding and rushed me to the ER. The doctor took one look at my vitals and admitted me immediately. I spent an entire week in the hospital on IV fluids because I was so dehydrated. They monitored the baby constantly. It was terrifying. When I was finally discharged, all I wanted was to go home, crawl into my own bed, and rest. My doctor's orders were strict. Bed rest, no stress, no physical activity. I walked through our front door and immediately froze. The living room looked like a tornado hit it. There were dirty diapers on the coffee table, pizza boxes stacked on the couch, juice stains on the carpet, toys everywhere. The kitchen sink was overflowing with dishes. That's when my husband casually mentioned he'd let his brother, sister-in-law, and their 3 kids move into our 2 spare bedrooms while I was in the hospital, without asking me, without even telling me. I just stood there in the doorway holding my discharge papers and started crying. I was so exhausted I could barely stand. My husband looked at me like I was being dramatic. "Babe, it's not that bad," he said with a shrug. "They just got here yesterday." I wiped my tears and told him, "Fine, if it's not that bad, then you should have the entire house cleaned up before I wake up from my nap." I was so tired I couldn't even argue anymore. I went straight to our bedroom, didn't even change clothes, and passed out on top of the covers. 4 hours later, I woke up desperately needing water. My mouth was so dry from all the hospital medications. I dragged myself to the kitchen. Every single glass we owned was dirty. Some had milk residue, others had sticky juice. They were scattered all over the house. Counters, coffee table, bathroom sink, everywhere. I looked around. They hadn't cleaned a single thing. Not one dish. Not one toy picked up. Nothing. So what did I do? I started passive-aggressively washing dishes myself, tears streaming down my face, trying not to throw up in the sink. The next morning was even worse. I was trying to work from home, responding to emails, when their kids started going absolutely crazy. They were screaming at the top of their lungs, banging on the walls, running up and down the hallway like it was a racetrack. And where was their mother? Locked in the guest bedroom, door closed, for hours, just ignoring them completely while I dealt with the chaos. When my husband got home from work that evening, I thought he'd finally see how bad it was. Instead, he was upset with me. He said I didn't make his sister-in-law feel welcome, that I should have been helping her with the kids since she was tired. Then he had the nerve to complain about how messy the house was and how nothing got done all day. I stared at him in disbelief. This was the same house he didn't clean, the same mess he promised to take care of. That's when I completely lost it. I told him I'm too sick to have company right now, that I just got out of the hospital, that they need to leave. His response? "They're my family and I'm not kicking them out." I started crying again. I was beyond frustrated, beyond exhausted. My body physically couldn't handle this anymore. So I pulled out my phone and called my mom right in front of him. I told her the entire story, every detail, while he stood there listening. My mom went silent for a second. Then she said, "I'm coming over right now. Pack a bag." 30 minutes later, my mom showed up with all 3 of my older brothers. My husband's face went pale when he saw them walk in. My mom looked around at the disaster, looked at my husband, and said in the calmest, coldest voice I've ever heard, "If your family can stay here, then so can mine." She didn't ask. She told him. My brothers immediately started bringing in bags. My mom took my hand and walked me straight to the bedroom. She tucked me into bed like I was a kid again and said, "You rest. We've got this." I could hear everything from the bedroom. My mom telling my sister-in-law to get out of the guest room and help clean. My brothers picking up every single toy while making pointed comments. My husband just standing there in complete shock, finally realizing how badly he messed up. By the next morning, the house was spotless. My mom made me breakfast in bed. And my husband, he was sleeping on the couch because my oldest brother took over our bedroom to make sure I was okay. His brother's family left that afternoon without saying goodbye.